Alright, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is Seattle Pandemonium Shutdown Day 124 by my count. And this is an this is an open letter about banning Tik Tok. So yesterday, let me try to explain this. So yesterday, what was going viral all over the Twitter was a scandal of epic proportions. Several academics and authors and public figures and everything. J.K. Rowling, of course, the creator of Harry Potter. Margaret Atwood, the author of Handmaid's Tale. I think Noam Chomsky was signed on there. And this open letter was about cancel culture and how we need to chill out with the cancel culture stuff, right? Because people say something like J.K. Rowling caused a stir trying to defend women and angered the transgender rights people, and now they wanted to cancel Harry Potter. I don't know. Maybe Margaret Atwood was in the same boat or had said similar things. And well, look, the idea is we have this runaway cancel culture, the wokeness, like I was talking about on yesterday's video, I think. The wokeness comes for everyone. At some point, you will say something that crosses some intersectional tripwire, and then the rage mob will come for you and you're a terrible person. Whether it's a racial slur you use, even on accident or something, like it's, a word sounds like another word. That's kind of happened before. You do something that's over the line, like the Jake Paul, Logan Paul thing, where he posed with a dead body in the Japanese suicide forest, and that was a bridge too far for a lot of people. But he wasn't necessarily canceled. There's just outrage, and he loses, sponsors and things. And but you have people like Milo Yiannopoulos canceled off of all these, social media platforms, again saying some provocative things. Alex Jones canceled off of, payment providers like PayPal and, I think MasterCard and stuff like that. Being removed from social media platforms, hosting platforms. Stefan Molyneux just got nuked off of YouTube after 14 years or something on the platform, like millions of, hundreds of millions of plays and everything. Also canceled off of Twitter just a day or two ago. And these are somewhat controversial figures, but this goes back to the main point, which yesterday on the Twitter, everyone was freaking out about free speech, cancel culture, whether cancel culture is real or not. I argue that it is, of course, real. I think it's manifestly real. People have had to turn in Pulitzer Prizes and stuff like that. Anyways, you get it. If you know what I'm talking about, then we could argue it in the comments or something. Anyways, people are arguing whether cancel culture even exists, and then this creepy sort of authoritarian thing, which is the concerned censorship, the concerned censors. Their argument is, and this is sort of like what Ezra Klein over at Vox was saying, when free speech discussions happen, a lot of times it's about power, not speech. Okay. I can get there, I understand what you mean, some people have more followers, some people have more, clout, some people have more, I don't know what you would call it, a need for attention, I guess, pay attention to what I am saying because it is more important than what you're saying, kind of a thing, or they at least think it is. I can kind of get there, but also a lot of discussions about free speech are just discussions about free speech because people don't understand how this works, apparently. Apparently what we do now is freak out and get people banned from social media for saying things that people don't like. And then redefining words like safety and violence to mean words. Like, now words are violence, which, because it makes people feel something, it's now a violent act. I don't know. I can't really get there with that. Words mean things, and violence is an act, a physical act of directly physically harming someone. Dickhead. What was I saying? Made me mad. Cancel culture. Violence. Yeah, words are violence, but silence is violence. Silence is complicity in whatever thing people are really upset about. So you have to talk about it, but you can't talk about it in the wrong way. Now, what you get is something like, I was dealing with some people like this today, talking about how they claim that they have the ability, somehow, to determine whether or not you should be able to hear what someone else is saying because they're fascists and we want to censor them so that we don't get more fascists. Now, there's a variety of problems with this particular stance, but the first of all is, of course, I'm not going to. How are you supposed to take what? You're just going to take someone else's word for it. Oh, don't listen to that guy. He's a fascist. Okay. I guess if I trust your classification abilities, then maybe I would take your word for it. But I would go, oh, what did they say? How do you know that? Well, then you have to look into what this person has said or done to determine whether or not you should take them seriously as a person whose opinions are correct, or as a person who's dangerous, as a person who is pernicious. You have to assess what they're saying. Thus, their freedom of speech means my freedom to hear. And this is something Walter Lippmann wrote a short piece I read long ago called The Indispensable Opposition. And I think we need a little bit of that energy nowadays, because while you're ignoring and censoring and banning everything and telling other people and deplatforming and telling people not to listen to certain things like Alex Jones, you don't know what Alex Jones is talking about, right? So you don't know what they're cooking up over at InfoWars. You don't know what the far right or far left or whatever extremist you want to ban from social media, you're not aware of what they're doing, and then they're going to surprise you because you're not aware of what they're talking about. And hey, not everyone is wrong about everything all the time. So that one sliver of correctness that some alt-righter has, or some controversial comedian who takes things too far, they're going to also say something that's correct, and you're not going to hear it because you decided that you need a kind of, and I've been trying to put words to this, it is a cognitive purity, but it's like focused on wellness, and that's how it's framed. It's about safety and wellness and protection and protecting people. But all you're doing is insulating them from the thing that you think is so unpleasant. They will acclimate, and they will get over how unpleasant it is. It's kind of like growing up. I mean, honestly, there's all kinds of offensive things I see every day. People getting all upset about an open letter about settling down on cancel culture isn't real high on my list of things that I find offensive and I'm going to get really animated about, right? So this is, again, is this just round and round kind of stuff? It's like this dovetails neatly with the woke sort of culture that we've created. The cancel culture is this really active segment of that culture because it's all, it's online, it's very fast. People's words are sort of forever. So you can go dig up a tweet from, a decade ago, and cancel someone now, whether they apologize or not. And the concern censors. The concern censors are like, oh no, these people are spreading fascism. And it's like, okay, but they get to do that. Oh, but what if it leads to fascists causing people harm? Like, well, you combat speech with other speech. And you do not have access to any means of discerning what I am allowed to hear and not. You don't have divine knowledge. You don't have access to information I don't have. I am the decider of what it is that I would like to see and consume. Your pearl clutching and fear about it is kind of a you problem, not a me problem. Okay? And again, I understand people's concern about wanting to censor neo-Nazis or something. I understand why you want to shut them down. You just have to understand, if you do that with something other than refutation of their positions, like getting them banned by complaining or whatever, you're essentially engaging in the authoritarian practice that you say they're going to do to everyone else. Again, my position is fairly clear. Free speech for all, and you own your words. I mean, I don't want people canceled. I don't want people to live in poverty because they have an opinion you don't like. We just have to hedge these things where it's necessary. De-radicalizing extremists isn't going to happen in your curated little Twitter world where no one has any differing opinions, right? The de-radicalization of radicals is going to happen if you go talk to them, if you bring them in and run down the list. And again, they're not going to be wrong about everything. They're going to be right about something, and you need to know what that is. And that them being right about something is also a potential redemption point. Hey, I get your point about that, but that doesn't excuse all these other things that you say or think. And reel some of these people back in from the fringes. I don't know. I mean, that's the guy that he disarms KKK members. He deprograms them or de-indoctrinates them. I forget the guy's name. It's a black guy. He's like de-clawed. You know, he's de-clanned and de-hooded hundreds of Klan members. But he has to go talk to them. He has to be exposed to all their rhetoric. He has to know what their talking points are. He has to be able to cut through all the noise. So he has to get to know all the ideology and everything. And that's what makes him prepared to do that when you're not. Because you just go, oh, racists, let's ban them from the internet. Okay, they'll go to some other private forum and just marinate in each other's juices. Ugh. You guys, we got to get more mentally tough here. I'm serious. We can't have these vague, like, go. Seattle drivers are terrible. We can't just continuously woke mob everything and be outraged. It's just not. It's not really a plan, and it's not even really a culture. It's just a frenzied, continuous hate mob. Anyway, that's enough for me for one day. Bye.